called parthenogenesis. So actually the snake then basically decided it wanted to have a baby, even though it had not had a mate in like 10 years, and just said, yeah, now I want to have an egg, and just laid an egg and like gave birth to like a brand new snake.
And it was a snake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. So, maybe St. Patrick wasn't totally wrong.
Oh, and there's the hook.
Oh, hey.
Hey, welcome to 10 Random Things, the show that audiences and fans and people who love things are talking about. Rob Kubasko.
Kyle Olson.
We are a little bit, we have a little bit of green in the background.
That's
we
right.
thought that was appropriate.
Exactly. It's St. Patrick's Eve.
We're celebrating.
So, hide your snakes.
Green. That's not true because
I know. There are no snakes in it. However, I will say one of my favorite sort of gags about that is in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You travel to Ireland, and there's a whole thing with snakes where you like in pots. If you smash a pot, you'll find a snake. Like I'd say 50% of the time. If you go to England, you can do it, and you never find one except one. They literally have one snake in a pot, and you smash the pot, you kill the snake, and you get an achievement that's like St. Patrick related or whatever. It was really. I was like that. Oh, you guys.
Okay, that's pretty nice. All right. So we have an interesting show today. Some sad stuff.
Yeah, it's a little somber because a lot of bad stuff happened. The Ides of March have not been kind.
Not been great.
Have not been stabbed in the back by any friends.
No, and we may have some overlap today, which I assume is fine. Yep. So I'm starting off with what we're going to just go right into it. First thing, this is for those of you who are Lego fans. It is the Lego Sesame Street playset idea set. It is amazing. Yeah. I'm going to switch to the camera because you got to see what we've got. What we've got for you here.
Look at that. Because there's a extra little bonus that you added on to it.
No, as great as this is, you can see Bert and Ernie. There's Elmo. There's a little bit of Mr. Hooper. You turn it around. Pay no attention to that big black
that's
stick
not
that's
part
there.
of the set.
Right? That's not there. Here's why this is cool. Not only just because it's Lego, because it's Sesame Street. It has, and I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to plug this in.
Never once again, need it.
Pay attention. Oh,
look at that.
And it lights up.
Yeah.
This is an add-on third-party light-up kit. You can see.
Bricks Max.
Look at the light on their tabletop.
Yep. And across the top there, and you can see. I love the street light. The actual where the Sesame Street sign is. That lights up. That's great.
There's even some animation going on.
It's an Abacadabra. Little sign's purple on the side.
I love this set. Now, here's something a lot of people might not know. This was an idea set. A Lego designer went ahead and designed it. Lego selected this. People voted. They were able to make it. It was wonderful. I love it. Yeah. But this was not what it was originally supposed to be like.
No, the original design was so much cooler. And of course, it would have ended up being a $300 set.
Well, because it was based on something else.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
I had
this.
I had this when I was a kid.
So you have to love this version. This is
so I was going to hold it up for you.
Little People. Is that what I forget? What the Little People is?
Yeah, Little People. Little People. Yep, and they're still in here. So we got there's your Ernie.
We'll lay them out here. We'll put them on the thing cam.
Late great Mr. Hooper.
Mr. Hooper.
Yep. There's Cookie Monster.
Well, the Cookie Monster I always loved because he was nicely.
The biggest of birds there.
There's Big Bird.
I think that's all the characters. Oh no! Oh, there's a Bob in here.
I believe we got Bob, and I hope
there goes Bob.
Bob's gone.
Sorry, Bob.
Bob's gone. I'll get Bert. Bob. There's Bert. There's the sign.
There's Gordon.
We have Gordon. We've got all of these guys.
Bob is on a tour right now, so he can't come out at the moment.
There's no elegant way to do that.
No,
this set,
disappear.
Every child of late 70s, early 80s has fond memories of this set. The cool thing about it was that, yes, you have the iconic Sesame Street with Mr. Hooper's store.
That's right. You can see on the
You turn it around. I'm going to lose the sanitation truck.
I can't believe you have all the stuff,
too. You got a chalkboard in the middle.
Yep.
For like little messages.
For real chalkboard.
You've got Bert and Ernie's Place. You've got, you know who we forgot?
Oh, did we forget someone? Oh, I forgot. That's right. Oscar's in there.
Oscar's in there. He was this, and this actually is very much like the Lego set, which I think is kind of neat. He is just a little character inside.
Scram!
Inside that. I adore this set. This was not the original one I had when I was a child.
Oh, it's not.
Okay. When my daughter was about 1, I went searching on eBay.
Hunting? Yeah.
I found one very complete, very hard to find one where this hasn't been chewed up by an animal.
That's right. Yeah, or worn off.
Or something.
Yeah.
The thing that always...
all your like, these
stickers,
are actually, like, stickers are
the outside stickers are fine. The foam sponge,
yeah.
that is the mattress for Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, there's no way that was gonna.
That was never gonna work. But look at the stickers on the.
Oh yeah,
table.
right.
Like there's
the
that.
lunch top counters in here. Yes. I remember this because in playing with this became a spaceship for me very quickly. Because I mean, it looks like a Star Wars Star Speed or something like that. So I would put my little people on and have them racing off on adventures.
So here's the story, the sad news. Why are we reminiscing about Sesame Street?
We lost one of the original cast members of Sesame Street, one of the live-action performers that we grew up with seeing. So unfortunately, Luis, so Emilio Delgado. Was unfortunately lost the battle with blood cancer.
That's what it is. Yeah. 81. He was 81 years old.
81. Amazing performer. He played. My numbers said that he was the person who played a Hispanic character for the longest, because basically it was 44 years he portrayed Luis on the show. So he has that as like Guinness or whatever it is, like as the record, because that he was continually working that entire time as that character.
Profound impact.
Yeah.
I think anyone again who grew up in that period,
yeah.
with Mr. Rogers and everything else, but Sesame Street, that core group of Sesame Street characters really was important, especially for diversity when diversity was not.
Yeah. And as someone who grew up in suburban Indiana, I did not see a lot of Hispanic people.
Right.
So having this guy who was my friend, because he talked to me, like he, turned the camera and would say welcome and all these things. Like that was sort of the first experience I had with a Hispanic man in my life on a regular basis before I finally got to go out and see more of the wide world and not just the boring suburban neighborhood that I grew up
out of Indiana,
out of Indiana,
out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So I mean, representation matters, and it matters both ways.
No, absolutely. Great gratitude for Mr. Delgado, his performance, what he meant for generations of children.
Do you know about the tribute that's on set?
No.
Oh, I'm lucky enough to have a friend who is a performer on Sesame Street. I don't want to out them because they're not supposed to talk about all that kind of stuff. But and they post on social media, so this isn't a secret. She has told me some secrets that I'm not going to. Yeah, sure. But on the steps, on the thing, on the steps going up to the thing, they have a guitar with his hat on it, and so you'll see it in the episodes and they post it. Like I said, you can see it on Instagram. They post it, but that'll be in the episodes.
That's fantastic.
So I don't know if they're directly addressing it. They did. Obviously, we all experience a loss of Mr. Hooper, and and we got to see Big Bird having to learn about the fact that he's not coming back. He's not on vacation. He's gone.
Right.
So I don't know if they're going to do that again too, because they have shifted to a much more emotional based thing. I mean, they're less about. I mean, still numbers and letters and stuff too, but they want to actually have kids much more emotionally prepared for the world now. So I mean, I think Sesame Street's doing fantastic stuff. And I got as much as we like to rag on some of the social media stuff. I mean, the companies, HBO Max, they stepped up and they really helped the Children's Television Workshop to keep Sesame Street going. So I mean, right now, if you're an HBO Max fan, all the Sesame Street, and here's the thing. If you want to watch classic episodes of Sesame Street, you can, and no one can stop you. So if you're at home and you're lonely and you're thinking about your youth or whatever, you can go back and watch episodes from just about any era and see that. If you want to look back at the Monster Arms Hotel, you can do that. If you want to, go all the way back.
R2-D2 when R2-D2
that's right.
C-3PO showed up.
That's right. And there was that robot that was around for a while.
Yeah.
Remember that one? I mean, the
Adventures of Super Grover.
Right. All those things are on there. So I mean, no one can stop you from going back and being nostalgic and reliving these things and seeing Luis back in doing the thing that he loved.
Absolutely.
So. And so
awesome.
mine actually ties into that too, as we're still talking
I figured we would have a little bit of.
So because I brought this. So they just recently had their 50th anniversary, but this is actually the 40th anniversary book. So this is a pretty monstrous tome. And so I have a couple of Sesame Street books, but this is one of my favorites just because there's my cheat sheet. then here is like you get to see all these great pictures, and like there's some of the music. I mean, there's Carol. I mean, that's it. So they have like whole pages just devoted to individual performers and Muppeteers. There. Oh, look, there he is right there in the famous wedding episode. Don't drop the ring, Elmo.
Oh, jeez. Oh my God, that's awesome.
Oh, Marty, who's still working on the show. Let's see, we've got. I mean,
there's R2. There's R2D and C3PO.
Yeah, there you go. See, we were just talking about that. And there they are. I mean, all these different. Oh, look, there's C's for Cookie. I mean, there's just this is a great book. I mean, there's tons of stuff. There's also another book out there called Sesame Street Unpaved. If you don't want to go for like this giant of a thing. Oh, there's some around the world. I always thought that was interesting. I wish they would have more crossovers. You know, I was sort of curious what they were doing in other countries, but.
And there he is.
And Super Grover.
We've hit it all.
Right. Yeah, it's a great book.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
These coffee table books.
I know, I love them. And the nice thing about them is they technically have, Stephanie D'Abruzzo, there you go. She actually helped create Avenue Q. And there's Steve Whitmire, who was fired as Kermit. But see, has a long, distinguished career as a Muppet performer. So they tend to have a short shelf life. Like because they take up a lot of room and so. Right. But the nice thing is they'll hit the secondary market that much cheaper, and you can get them cheaper. So for those of us who are bargain hunting, you can actually end up getting these books. And like what I did at Half Price Books or Bookman's or whatever else the discount books are in your neighborhood is.
Sidebar.
In your neighborhood. In your neighborhood.
Sidebar on
this.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I look at a book like this. This is about 300 pages.
Yeah.
Is it harder to produce and design this book, or is it harder to produce a 90-minute documentary? Because I'm not sure. This took so much effort and time.
Yes. I mean, that's. I mean, obviously,
design each page.
This was 40 years of history they were doing too to find all the different.
Oh, this is such.
Oh, I know. There's Jim.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Page
Hi-ho,
here.
Kermit the Frog here. Look at there he is, my hero, Jim Henson.
But I love this composition. I love the pull quotes.
Yep, I know. I love the design of this. Like I said, I looked at Sesame Street Unpaved, which I have as well, and I really just love the design of this one so much that I wanted to bring this and show it off. I would assume that there's a 50th anniversary book out there. I don't know for sure. I can't believe they wouldn't. Wow. But I know there's a 50th anniversary celebration. So even if you don't want to go back and watch episodes. HBO Max also has the 50th anniversary special that was on, which has a bunch of really, really amazing cameos, the people that got to come out. There's a great book called Street Gang, and they made a really good documentary about that too, about the actual making of it too. So you get to find out some of the people because we all know Jim Henson and Frank Oz and that kind of, and the amazing performers. But there's like a whole group of educators and stuff that helped come up with the idea and the concept of the show before it even got that far. And so Street Gang talks about that part of it, and it's really good too. So that's another documentary that's out there as well. So
outstanding.
Sesame Street.
All right, we have some new stuff to talk about. I have a small box. You'll know what this is immediately when you see it.
Oh yes.
For those of you
to send out the call,
who are Marvel Cinematic Universe fans, this is a prop replica.
Yep.
Hot Toys made this.
Yeah.
But this is, and here I'm gonna go to the thing cam so you can see this. It has a feature. There it is. Okay.
Is that like oh no, I'm being dusted. I need to send a signal. I need to.
And if you press a button, you can see. Oh, there you go. Yeah. You can see that there's blinking lights.
Yep.
This lights up. And I think if you press it again, then the red lights stay on.
Okay. Nice. That is the pager that Nick Fury used at the end of Infinity War when he was being dusted to summon Captain Marvel.
I can remember coming out of the theater and I heard a lot of people like, "Oh, what's going to happen? What is that pager thing?" Yeah. And for people who didn't know what Captain Marvel,
exactly, because it was just her symbol. It was before her movie had come out, right?
Oh yeah, this was before. This was before
I'm trying to
the movie.
remember the timeline of it.
Yes.
Because Captain Marvel came out between.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're bringing this up.
It's so simple. It's so stupid. I love this so much.
So there was a trailer.
So you also sent out the signal because.
I was just about to get to that. So the trailer.
I'm trying
is.
To cue you
I know. The trailer is just dropped of Ms. Marvel,
that's right.
Which plays into this because she certainly has a affection for Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And it played very much in the trailer. I thought the trailer was great.
I did too.
They brought back some fantastic 80s music.
Yeah.
I would say.
Well, yeah, and they also that was Blinding Lights by The Weeknd, which also uses the same riff as Take on Me. So that was so it was a nice combination of the two things on there. So. Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was a really cool trailer. Someone in the comments or like one of the reviews said this looks like Scott Pilgrim meets Sky High, and I was like,
yeah,
that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I love both of those movies. That would be great.
It is June 8th. The series starts. We don't know how many episodes yet.
We don't, but somewhere between 6 and 8 usually is how they've been running.
Looks fantastic. I think one of the neatest things is that when they close the trailer, it ends with the shot of her on the street lamp, directly taken from the comic.
Yep. Stephen McKelvey art.
I'm excited for the show. I'm excited for the diversity, especially because they are embracing, we've had, so in this example, the character is Muslim.
Yes.
So we have that. You've had characters. You've had Daredevil, who is Catholic.
Yeah.
You totally expand that diversity portrayed.
Because that's one of the things of Kamala. I think they say it in the trailer. Now
I'm
in my head about it. Kamala. Kamala is the vice president.
I know.
And so Kamala is.
And that was the joke that they made.
Yeah, I know. They made the joke, and that's now I'm like in my head. I'm playing it backwards and I'm trying to make sure I don't do it wrong. Because you hear it written so many times, then you have to actually say it. Not only that I say being Muslim is a part of her character and a part of her story and stuff too. So I think that's interesting they put that on there. But not only is did we see the trailer, all new, like you say, like a different area of the MCU, but also a whole new group of actors. Like for me at least. There's not one recognizable face. I mean, I'm looking forward to Moon Knight. Love Oscar Isaac. I think that's really
agreed.
But to see this entire thing and they show the principal cast, I'm like, oh, I've never seen any of these people before. This is exciting because this could be first break for all of these people.
Yes.
And then you also don't have any preconceived notions sort of going in of you expect a certain level or whatever. I'm like, they're all new. I'm super excited about it. Yeah, it looked fun and interesting and something we hadn't seen before. They've doing a whole high school thing we haven't seen. We missed that with Spider-Man. Spider-Man
absolutely.
barely spent any time in high school, but now we're going to get to see the real high school experience of her. And a huge difference in her powers, too.
What I'm excited about is to see how this connects to the movie.
Yes.
So we have, which everyone thought was going to be Captain Marvel 2. It is actually the Marvels.
Right.
And so
3.
I am curious to see how they lay the stones to get to that movie, because I think that's what this is for. So
yeah, true, and they have changed her powers. So I think to tie in because in the original comics she was an Inhuman. She was exposed to the Terrigen mists. For those of you who watched Inhumans, and I'm sorry if you did, but for those of you who watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yay, they made a big deal of that too. That was how she got her powers. But in this, it seems that she has the bands. So are those the Nega bands? Are those the Quantum bands? I don't know. But I think that's interesting that that's where she's getting her powers. And she also doesn't have the shape-shifting. She's got some kind of force field-y type of thing. I think it's going to be interesting to see how that goes because, as we've seen multiple times, stretchy powers on screen.
Okay.
In comics, great. Video games, great. Live action.
It's not a negative because they're going to do it right. But I got a tiny bit of Green Lantern vibes.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too. Yeah, a little
bit. And I wasn't worried.
Yeah. Because they can,
but a little bit.
Yeah, they could do it right. But I think you're right because if they are doing the Nega bands, Quantum bands, which are Kree technology, that is kind of what those are like. They were sort of Marvel's answer to the ring of the Green Lantern. So there's some DNA in there. So some creative dueling between.
Looking forward to it. June 8th, Disney Plus.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So what I got. So yes. Okay. So. I am trying to fix some oversights. I realized that in my 14-year-old daughter, I've been showing her a ton of stuff, and I realized that there are actually some gaps because over the weekend we watched The Adam Project, and so that was with Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo, Jennifer Garner, and it was a time travel thing, and they made a bunch of jokes about Back to the Future 2, and I realized, never shown her Back to the Future 2. So we watched Back to the Future 2, which of course features a hoverboard.
Nice.
So this is actually from a Loot Crate. This is QMX. So quantum mechanics, they are great at making this kind of stuff. So it actually is mounted sort of on the thing, so you actually can see on the bottom. It actually has all the features and stuff on there. They do not, they don't have the Mattel logo on there, obviously, because it was not that officially branded. But this was just like a fun little thing they put out just as a bonus thing on there, so you can see the hoverboard. Because also in the Atom Project there are hoverboards, because they pretty much took from everything. They're like. The lightsabers, stabs, hoverboards, time travel. Yeah, we want all of it. But yeah, so I actually then showed her Back to the Future 2, which my wife refused to watch again because she doesn't like that one. She only likes the ones that are, the odd numbered. I don't know. So yeah, she's going to come join us again when we go back to 1885 to rescue Doc Brown.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's
this
pretty,
was
pretty
Loot
good.
Crate?
Yeah, really. That was a Loot Crate. It was a Loot Crate, but it's from QMX. QMX does some really amazing stuff. They've done a ton of great stuff for Firefly and / Serenity over the years. I've got a bunch of stuff from there. Yeah, it was just another, in the box. It was just one of those things, and I've had it ever since. There's a bunch of that stuff that I'm just like, oh, this is great, and whoosh, off it goes. But I've had this on my shelf for years. I mean, Loot Crate, this was back in Loot Crate's prime, so what, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a fun little thing. I guess you could mount it, but I just usually have it sitting on the shelf because it's got little feet, so you can just set on the base.
But I love that. Okay, there's so much
mirror,
detail.
Yeah, the mirror, so you can actually look. Right now, you can, as you're seeing, you can see the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Without having to.
There's so much detail under it, and I love that the mirror is there to kind of bounce off. Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It would be fun if it came off.
I know, but it's for another thing. So did you see the Atom Project?
Okay, no,
Okay.
because we picked 2 movies to watch over the weekend.
Okay.
One we'll talk about later. The other one is, let's just say, was the 5th sequel of a certain horror franchise, and I'm not going to name it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay.
Because I want to be positive.
Okay. Well, then I guess I should stop talking about Atom Project because.
Oh
no! It was.
Oh wait,
fine.
no! I thought
Atom Project. It was fine. It was. I mean, as most of, I'm kind of hot and cold on Sean Levy. I think he has some brilliant stuff. And then every once in a while he'll do something that I'm just like, okay, that happened. And Atom Project is sort of starts out, and then by the time it gets to the third act, I was like, boy, you just don't know how physics works, do you?
Oh well, I didn't think
I mean, once again, all the performers are great. They're really, and it has some nice stuff. But it's sort of by the time they get to the third act, they sort of have thrown away all of the Back to the Future type of emotional kind of stuff, and they're just like, and now a bunch of things explode, and they go along with, I think it was Fast and the Furious 9, that they don't understand how magnets work. So the whole thing, I was like, but that wouldn't. So the whole final climax, I couldn't get over because I'm like, that's not how that.
That's not how. All right.
Yeah. So, but beyond that, all performers are all great, and of course now he's going to be making the Deadpool movie. So.
And our next thing. Okay, so I am loving, as we found out last episode or one of the previous episodes. I'm starting to really love the reaction figures from Super 7.
Oh, Super 7, man.
They may be getting regular funds from me on a regular basis.
Okay.
So today.
Oh, I did not even know these existed.
They have.
From there's our from the big guy.
And there he is, right over my shoulder.
Right. And now here's in miniature.
So this is a 3-pack, and I know I got a little too excited last time about the Star Trek figures, about the card art.
Yeah.
This art.
Oh yeah, this card art's great.
It's the 3 panels that appear.
Yep,
so
yep.
We'll put these on the way here. So if we go to ThinCam, so you can see here, and it's actually what is awesome about this. It's the whole 3 ways he appears in the movie.
Right.
So when he's found,
does he have the dent in his head? Oh, he does.
Oh yeah, there's the dent in the head.
Nice job.
The Superman, and this one comes with Hogarth.
I was going to say to scale.
And then he's a little
big.
Superman, and the first time I've ever seen the battle mode, and note it has all the detail on the arms, the head, the calves, like the shins. I mean, wow, absolutely fantastic. Why am I bringing up Iron Giant? It's not just because these figures. There was a thing that came out. Little props to Andy Nelson.
Oh, okay.
One of the godfathers of the Next Reel, a family
Next
film
Reel.
podcast.
Ding. Up at the corner. I wasn't pointing.
It's in my.
That's over his
right
head.
here. This week on March 11th, a new score has come out.
Really?
I have a representative,
Yeah.
a paper representation of this because
Yeah.
I have an Apple Music subscriber. It's on Apple Music.
Yeah.
It is the deluxe from Michael Kamen, the deluxe score of The Iron Giant.
Oh, I'm so glad that
This
whenever they
is
do that for any movie,
fantastic.
I'm so glad they get all the music out there.
It has all the renditions of the little stop, drop, and roll, like the duck and cover, cover. It has that. It has the stuff from the deleted scenes. It has all the full orchestrations of the entire movie.
Nice.
Never before, some extra cuts.
Yeah.
It is absolutely fantastic. I have profound love for this movie. I honestly,
These are really cool. I mean, like I have, and you say like the front. So I'm trying to not do the glare. The front card art then is on the back too. They have the 3.
I would love these as posters.
Yeah, I mean, like just as prints, those would be great too. And I love even in in that one that he's slightly posed differently. Like you get to see, you can see like his, see the. Yeah. See how he's like got his head up and he's in that pose. Like he's like the big guy back there.
I'm thrilled
I
by
had
this.
not even seen these. That's really cool.
So
This is great because like with Star Wars, like Star Trek, I should say. The Star Wars has 1,000 things. Star Trek, we had the Playmates figures, and then we get the reaction ones. And I'm like, okay, we've done this before, but like Iron Giant never got these kind of figures.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just really cool to have them in this sort of style, just because they never got to have this kind of stuff. Because like we talked about on the podcast the other day, like they like it was a failure. It was a flop. It was a flop when it came out.
There were figures. They were
Financially.
not like this, and you can only find them at a particular place called Warner Brothers Store that no longer exists. And
Rest in peace, Warner Brothers.
that was that. So Iron Giant Deluxe Edition score available now. Check that out.
I like it. So
The big box.
Yes. So no more. Unfortunately, more sad news because we lost someone else this week that was very important to us, and that was William Hurt, who of course starred in a movie called The Hulk. So this, and for those of you who are longtime fans of ours, from the day, he made a cameo several times on Marvel Movie Minute on the other. So this is from 1996. I bought him brand new from KB Toys when I was on there. So let's show him in action. So there you go. Get close to the camera and then.
Oh, look at the mouth.
I know, but the thing is, what we found that Justin and I found that we worked together at KB is you can just like trigger it. So like what you learn to do is hold down the thing so he has this nice one. So this was actually a rage cage. Go ahead. He was a Rage Cage Hulk, which I found out was a recurring thing because when I did my internet research, it turns out they've been making Rage Cage Hulk since like the 70s. Like every toy line that comes out with. So this was from Toy Biz back in the day. And so there was one that actually came in a cage, and he had the purple pants, which was great, but he had a yellow shirt, which was weird. And you would actually trigger the thing, and the cage would blow apart as if he had aged out of it. And we thought, boy, that's kind of lame. So they actually put out a second one without the cage that was slightly cheaper, and so that's the one that I got. I believe Justin, my friend, got one as well, but I don't think he still has it. I kept mine around, so I still have my Hulk, and so yeah, we talked a lot about William Hurt because obviously he played General Thunderbolt Ross in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and several other things, including Black Widow most recently. Yeah, we talked a lot about him on there, and so as a tribute to him and to remember our time talking for like 200 episodes about the Incredible Hulk.
No, Incredible Hulk, Marvel Movie Minutes, Season 2,
That's right.
The Incredible Hulk. Obviously, it was very sad. He was older than I thought.
Yeah.
Was he 81 too?
I believe, I thought he was in his late 70s.
Might be 79. It might have been 79.
Unfortunately, we've been losing so many people.
Right.
The numbers get all jumbled together in my head.
So, do you think that they had plans to do anything?
I don't know. That's the thing is, like, there was the whole Red Hulk thing was talking around. So, like, was he going to make a cameo in the She-Hulk series? I don't know. I mean, had he shot anything? I guess we don't really know.
We don't know.
That's
a great figure.
But yeah, so I've been hearing, and of course, there's always that tendency to when someone dies to like say all the good things. And I have heard a couple of negative things. Apparently, he could be challenging to work with. Sure. But I also heard a really nice story that someone had told years ago on Twitter and came up again about how they were in a production in Chicago, and William Hurt talked about how he never got to go to shows anymore, like see really interesting plays. And they sent him a letter saying, you should come see our show. And he went, okay. Well, by the time he got there, the show was like, it was still running, but no one was coming. Like the audience was getting smaller and smaller, and they said they got to the point where they had to, every night they had to go, well, there's gonna be more of us on stage than in the audience. Should we actually do this? And the day he showed up, he was the only audience member that showed up for the show. And they're like, well, it's William Hurt, so here we go.
Oh, we're doing
and they
this.
Did it.
Oh, we're totally...
And it was a 3-hour play, a serious drama, not even a comedy. A 3-hour show, and they did the whole thing as almost like a command performance for William Hurt.
Wait, that speaks very highly of him.
Yes.
That he stayed. No,
Yeah,
now that's cool.
Not only that, but then he actually afterwards he went up on stage with them, and actually they said the lights came up and he's in tears, like he was just so emotionally affected by the thing, and then just sat for 3 or 4 hours and just talked theater. Just talk shop with them the entire
that's
time.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, it's a great story. So like I said, I actually heard someone else tell another story that was not quite as complimentary. So, there's mixed things. But, to say that, obviously he was a giant in the industry. He's done a ton of amazing work. He was in Dune, for goodness sakes. The original Dune, not the new one. So it's a big loss for all of us. So we're thinking about William Hurt and all the people who loved him. So.
Wow, we've hit maybe the most maudlin episode.
Yeah,
because
a lot of
because my next thing,
week, yeah,
I will begin with.
Oh yeah.
Hey yo.
Oh yeah.
Which
yep.
I mean,
there it is. That's
so
Razor Ramon there.
let me put him in.
Unfortunately, this week we lost Scott Hall, and this is his WWE character, Razor Ramon,
the bad guy.
The bad guy.
This is I want to say it's an elite figure because it's really got a pretty.
It's got pretty good details.
Good detail.
I mean, he was a astute man, so you can see he had a very hairy chest.
Yes, but he's got the chains. He's got the razor blades on the knee pads. Yeah. This was probably
WWE is not known for its subtlety, so.
Well, okay, so here's a couple things to say about Scott Hall. First of all, everybody's got demons. Everybody's got stuff.
He
went
had
through
some rough times.
Yes,
but from what I understand, had sort of overcome a lot of that stuff in the way as much as you can, and in the last part of his life was living a pretty happy, peaceful life.
Absolutely. I'm going to.
Oh, there you go. That's
there
nice.
we are.
Oh,
all right. No, he's good right there. So he had. I think a lot of his contemporaries basically were like, look, he really got his stuff together at the end. He had unfortunate complications from a recent surgery.
Yes.
Suffered a few heart attacks and was put on life support and passed away on Monday. A couple things to say about this.
Yep.
One. Incredible character of Razor Ramon. The Razor's Edge, which was this amazing finishing move.
Yeah, put him on his back and bring him forward.
Put them down on the back of their shoulders.
Yeah.
The character was great. He had the toothpick. Everybody knows that. Everybody who was watching wrestling in the early '90s, that whole part. You remember him.
The early part of the Attitude Era, I think, right?
Yes.
Because then obviously he shifted companies.
Well, and here's the thing that's amazing is this character was so important along with Kevin Nash, who was playing Diesel at the time. Mm-hmm. These characters were such a big deal that when they left, they hired people to play these characters, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
It was a disaster.
Yeah, it was a huge.
It was always a complete debacle. Yeah. He and Kevin Nash, they become the outsiders in WCW. They changed the entire wrestling business. I would say that they are probably some of the key people, along with a few others, that have obviously improved or definitely have improved the working conditions for people in the wrestling business. Just because of...
Still not fantastic,
but
better.
It's not completely good, but it's getting there. What a great character.
Did you ever see Razor Ramon wrestle? You've been to a couple live things.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see him?
Okay, now I don't specifically remember it, but I would assume I have.
Okay.
Because I went to enough things. I went to a SummerSlam once.
Yeah.
So
there was a period in there where I was going to all the because they were touring around a lot. I never saw Razor Ramon, but I did see Scott Hall. So I was at the time during the Nitro Wars, which was WCW versus WWE. I was on the WCW side. That's sort of what brought me back into wrestling because all the guys that I had that were fans of were now at WCW and not over at WWE. So when he was with the Outsiders, him and Alan Ash. And the NWO, that's where I saw him wrestle, and so it was I was lucky enough to actually get to see them perform live. And so I did watch Kevin Nash powerbomb Rey Mysterio Jr., which was he's a 7-foot guy, and like he can lift Rey way up high. I mean, that's like 10 feet in the air before he come down. Yes, he was. Yeah, but so the one story I had heard of Scott Hall that was interesting was from Stone Cold Steve Austin. He actually said that they were talking about who sold the Stone Cold Stunner Banner. So let's talk about selling here for a minute. So
wow, this is a great story.
Right, well, that's the thing. So obviously there's different level, and I know I'm sorry if you're not a wrestling fan, but there are different levels of wrestling fan. There's the people who sort of like believe that this is really Razor Ramon and not a performer named Scott Hall, and that kind of stuff, where they believe that like, oh, he really beat him in that match. No. And so there's the second level is sort of that when oh, okay, this is a really good performer. You're putting on a great performance. Nice job. Like, and you're sort of watching two professional athletes, working together to put on a great show. And then like sort of the third level is when you're watching them talk to each other and communicate with each other and also try and mess with each other. So when they get to that level, then they sort of start messing with each other. And so what they do is what they call selling. So selling, the big thing is like someone hits you, and selling is how much impact you take on it. And so the big thing with selling is when you do a finishing move, you have to like really like, oh, like it was the most painful thing in your entire life. But when they've done it so many times, they would start messing with each other and overselling. And so one of the things Stone Cold Steve Austin said, one of his favorite oversells of all time was Scott Hall when he would take the Stone Cold Stunner. Stone Cold Stunner was, so Austin would kick somebody in the stomach, they would bend over, he would grab their head and drop to the ground. And so the idea is then like, most people would just like, ugh, and they just roll off onto the side, but not Scott Hall. Scott Hall would pop up in the air as like, oh, like it's so much force, and then basically flop onto his back. And like every time he did it, you can watch their compilations on YouTube of him just and he did it just to mess with Austin, just to make him laugh. And you can actually see Austin break a couple of times. It's really, really funny.
It's pretty ridiculous, to the point that when he does it, his toes go down, like he's literally ejecting off. It's totally funny.
Yeah, it's great. He did it for The Rock and stuff too. I mean, like it was interesting to like when you get to that level where you're sort of watching them sort of work with each other. Yeah, so he was obviously had his demons, but like in the ring, all the people that worked with him said that he was a consummate professional, and when he showed up, he was there for them. So yeah,
huge deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal for us. Like we were big fans of his back in the day, so it was a big loss for that. So the NWO will never be the same.
Absolutely. All
right, let's move on. So this is also kind of a weird maudlin sort of in between thing. But
is there more?
Well, no more death. However, slight bit of controversy. So that's not what we're ending with. I have a better one for that. But this last week was the anniversary of a show that was extremely important to me. That was changed the trajectory of my life. That like really meant 25th anniversary of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So Buffy the Vampire. So I brought, because what more appropriate, the Sunnydale High School Yearbook.
Oh my God.
So this was one of the things they put out during the time of the show. It's great now, but these are actually all written in character with different things. So there's Principal Snyder, there's Oz, there's Cordelia, there's even Angel wrote in this. I think this is meant to be Buffy's. This is Buffy's yearbook, supposedly. And so inside here, it is literally written as if it is, I think, because here's the logo that they actually used for her graduation. She graduated in '99. So there's all these different, I think, there's even a trading card.
But this is
incredibly
well done.
Yeah, exactly. It's all written as if it's a real thing. And they talk about inside here all the different things that were part of the thing. There's Computer Club, like all references to episodes for the episode. There's some glossy pages in the middle because
What?
Yeah, and so everything is written as if it's an actual high school yearbook with all these shots from the show and references and jokes and well, there's more. Oh, there's Kendra. Well, even though she wasn't technically a student there. Of course, there was Drusilla. They got to put some fan stuff in there too. But for the rest of it, yeah, it's really cool. So, So it was the 25th anniversary of that, and obviously nobody's making a real big deal of it right now because it's really hard to talk about their show, and you can't talk about the creator because it turns out that one of the guys that I really looked up to as a budding writer turns out to be not that great of a guy. We're all of us as Buffy fans, and we still love the show because it's not one guy. This is the thing, like with a movie, there's certain writer-directors out there who very much put themselves out there, and then they still keep making movies, and you have to kind of go, are you still working with them? A lot of people contributed to Buffy, to any of these television shows, but there's a lot of creative people behind the scenes. It wasn't written and directed by one guy. There's a whole team. But it's like we're all in this state where like this was a show that meant a lot to us, but yet it's hard to talk about without talking about the bad stuff as well. So we're all celebrating at the same time. We have to do it quietly because you don't want to be the person defending someone who's done pretty awful things. So,
well, I will two things. Never seen an episode of this. I've never. I missed this entirely.
Yeah,
I was. I don't know what I was
on
doing.
the WB at the time. It was a mid-season replacement. I mean, like that's the thing. It came out, and it was it was sort of the first cult, and it was one of the first shows that built an online following because it came out at the time of the message boards. So the writers and performers would actually go on to the message boards after the episodes, like, "Hey guys, what do you think?" And they could actually have that sort of casual interaction. There was they had boards and stuff back in the days before we got to social media. So it sort of built a real cult following, and I mean, I've met a bunch of every actor I've met from the show, and I've met a bunch of them have been fantastic. Like I have not met any. I've met some divas over the course of cons, and every Buffy person has been great. Even in the smallest roles, they were grateful to be on there. So it's using so. It's all of us. So you fans out there, I am also quietly celebrating this major milestone, but with a little bit of sadness as well.
I think at some point though we are going to have to probably come to grips with how do you celebrate the work and not the creator.
Yep, that's where we're sort of at this point. And Sarah Michelle Gellar has done a nice job of that too. She posted a really nice thing saying how much the character meant to her, how much it like she knows that on her tombstone there's going to be a stake, and having to come to terms with the fact that the person that put it in her hand was not great. So,
all right.
I have many books, but I won't be bringing them all in. This is the one I picked for this moment.
So I have a new. So I thought I would end up on this today.
Ah, okay.
So this is a cute,
I just saw this. It came up in an ad for me.
So I'm gonna first of all just show what this is. This is a bit of like what is it? A flat book. Mm-hmm. Designed for like young children and stuff.
Yep.
It's a series of books in a nice little slipcover case. These all deal with feelings, and I actually thought this was neat. Each cover has different art, and not only is it different art, it's different characters on the other side.
That is neat.
So they've done a really nice job with this. And we've had, I know we had, our daughter grew up, there was a series of books that were really popular in the 80s that my wife had that were like these. They really talked about emotions. Like what do you do when you feel this way? This is obviously...
You turn into a panda.
Well, I don't know, or something. Basically dealing with not only these emotions, but in a very candid way saying, look, you can talk about this stuff.
I have some coworkers who could use these books.
Is that... Oh, they don't watch the show, do they?
Yeah.
No.
No.
So here you go. You've got this book. This is obviously based from the property of the new movie Turning Red from Pixar on Disney Plus. Watched it over the weekend. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
In fact, I will say it is my favorite Pixar movie since Coco.
Okay. I'd agree
Which,
with
I
that.
mean, if you think about all the movies since Coco, right?
Yeah.
It's been interesting in that it has created a lot of debate and controversy over the subject matter. This is basically based on a 13-year-old girl who is basically going through a lot of things in her life in terms of emotion, puberty, where it implied the onset of puberty. There's a lot of this stuff going on. I think there was some talk about this review that was made. That basically somebody had watched this, a reviewer, who maybe looks like us, and basically said, I didn't get anything out of this. This was not very funny. it's a movie because I don't relate to any of this. And I will say this. My point on the movie is, not only is it the best movie Pixar I think has done since Coco, I laughed out loud, crying laughing, at least half a dozen times. And on things that like you wouldn't, my daughter and I both, we all watched it together.
Yeah.
Absolutely enjoyed it, loved it. Not just, and not even just because of the Asian the cultural connections that it had to it, that we could understand, but you could apply those to anything. And I like using the Coco comparison because Coco has its own cultural comparisons that maybe you're not familiar with those things that people have done, or holidays, or things that people hold dear.
Yeah.
I just thought this was fantastic. I very much enjoyed the movie. I think anyone with young children should watch it. I will say that the things that might deal with, let's say for things that deal with puberty, they are handled in a way that is so fleeting, you really have to pay attention to what's happening.
Yeah.
A young kid is not gonna, whatever. And here's my last point I would make about any of these things. If it helps to spurn a conversation, a healthy conversation about life with parents, I never think that's a bad idea. This was great.
Yeah. I agree. I saw it as well. The whole family watched it. We had our Govee light turned on the whole time, which you can see some in the background.
It was going into overdrive?
Yeah. You're right, because it was a very, very colorful. And I agree with you. I think that it was one of the best things that Pixar had done. Like we talked on numerous things about how sort of some of the Pixar stuff has sort of left us cold. And my thing is like, okay, it's about a 13-year-old Chinese Canadian, growing up in the 90s. And it's like, I don't know how to relate to that. Can you relate to a car?
Well,
because there were 3 movies about cars, and you didn't seem to have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was really emotionally resonant, and it was. I really liked it. I liked it more than Encanto, and I liked it more than Soul. I mean, like I think it was great because we're still in our house. We're still arguing about Encanto because I don't understand how your magic system works. And so we still have debates. Like, we go like, well, maybe it was, and it'll start the whole thing again. It's like, but this, I thought, they had a very well-established sort of mythology. Like, they had their rules, and they told you what they were. And so by the time you get to the end, you're like, all right, I'm 100% understanding what's going on. Like, I get it. I'm with you on stuff. And it's like, and you can get into the whole metaphor about what it is, but like, no, it's sometimes it is just about a giant panda attacking the city.
or several.
Or several. We all really, really enjoyed it and had a great time doing it. And my youngest 8-year-old wants all the music now. She's like, I think I'm a fan of that band. I can't remember what the name of the band is. O-Town.
Four-Town?
Four-Town? Yeah. Yeah, she like wants to hear all the songs. I'm like, yeah, we don't own the soundtrack. Sorry.
That's not on Apple Music? I think it's on Apple Music. Oh, okay, sorry. The one thing
it was good.
Oh,
I liked that. I liked
right
them.
There,
yeah. I liked the random thing in front of us. I do like that they took that as being their musical sort of motif. Like they basically took the boy band thing and had that's what's playing through the whole thing. So yeah, it was great. And also, it's great to see supportive friends.
Yes.
Like a lot of times you don't get to see that. And I think so. Like there's her 3 friends are really, really nice to her and helpful, and like they all support each other and stuff. And that was great, just seeing those all together. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And even if you get into and I think it also talks about parental relationships with their children.
Yep.
I mean, it gets into that.
Yep. Expectations and
exactly.
Yep.
No, it's absolutely worth seeing.
Yep.
Domi Shi, who is the director, she was the one behind Bao, which was
the shorts with the dumpling.
With the dumpling, which I love. And you know what? I actually remember there was controversies about that when that even came out because people didn't understand the metaphor. Mm-hmm. They didn't, and it's like, okay, you know what? If you're Pixar, I think you should be happy to hear that you are breaking new ground. You are pushing the envelope of what people can understand and the stories that they can tell. I can't speak highly enough about it.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
And it's gorgeous.
Oh,
like I mean,
yes.
It looks their visual things. Okay, this is awesome. This is the last one.
Last one.
Okay. All right. So as we've established here, if you've been watching since the beginning, one of the things I love is things that look like they were from the movies they're in, like the pager. I think that's awesome. I love having a thing in my hand that's just like the thing in the hand. So this was something that actually came from Disney movie rewards. So very rarely, I have so many points in Disney movie rewards because all the movies I bought over the years, because the rewards they put on are not fantastic a lot of the times, but every once in a while, something really cool will come to land. So this came years and years and years ago. And it actually came from Master Replicas, which I tried to find more information on. They're actually still in business. They just, their website is barked. So
wait, I am so curious about what this is.
Yeah, so this was something that came from Master Replicas that as soon as I saw it, like the day, I'm like, I have to have it, and I used, I don't know, 2,000 points or whatever to get it, because it needed to be had. So this is the key from Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. That is the Davey Jones Key, and you can feel it's metal.
Oh, it's metal.
Yeah, like they were.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That sounds like metal. That is.
So isn't that is actual like exact replica, because that's what Master Replicas does, of the one they actually used in the movie.
What?
I know. And it actually looks at it. So this was the key that they used to open the chest that had Davy Jones' heart in it, and then of course many other things too, because antics ensued or whatever too. But like, this is one of the coolest things, and nothing else they really came out with from that set was as interesting. Like they never really did a compass that was that.
Oh,
but
they
like,
could have.
Yeah, they could have, exactly.
Oh,
And
they could have.
I haven't really found anything else that I had thought was cool. But like, I love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, the first one especially. But yeah, that's another thing to talk about problematic people. But
yeah, sure.
But once again, a lot of people. Right. But yeah, it's just that because you can wear it around your neck, you can have it. But
wow!
Isn't that great? I love this. It's one of my favorite little prop replicas.
When was this available?
I have a treasure box. When the movie came out, so 2008, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Like right around there.
Okay.
So like I even went online and like they don't make them anymore. Obviously, they only made them for the time. They're on eBay and that kind of stuff. But yeah, they don't actually have them like something they make normally. And I don't think it was available like in stores, like in terms of like the Disney Store exclusive. Or that kind of stuff. It was like just from them or whatever. But yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorite little pieces.
Master Replicas inherited, they were only the second official licensee for props from Star Wars.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. They did, because their big thing was
lightsabers.
Lightsabers, yeah.
So they did that. The Icons was the original one, the first one to get it. Then it moved to Master Replicas. Master Replicas built their entire business. You don't get that without them doing lightsabers.
Right, exactly. So this was sort of like a side thing for them.
And then they expanded probably too much, which happens to a lot of these stories.
There's
a lot of things. They lost a license. It's been toyed around.
Even Hot Toys.
So wait, there is a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
There is in the works.
Development.
Yes, in development. Like, it's going to star Karen Gillan. So Karen Gillan from Guardians of the Galaxy, and of course the biggest film of all time, Endgame. And so she is going to be the lead, and that's pretty much all we know. Like they have not said.
Really?
They have not. So they've signed a star. I assume there's a director and stuff too. They're not talking a lot about it. So I assume it's being developed and it's happening. We just not going to know about it until it's much further along the line. So I think it's 2024 it's supposed to come out. And at this point they have not said whether it's a total reboot or it's in the universe. So they're playing very coy about it right now.
Well, you know what? I kind of hope they do it in universe, and I hope they do it like a 100-year time leap.
Yeah.
And just do that.
The Age of Piracy didn't last, a huge amount of time. So I don't know if 100 years might be. It might be in like the 1880s or
still make that work.
Okay.
There was a place where crab sand lived. I mean, we do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I would agree. I would rather have it in like as we were discussing prequel, requel, all that kind of stuff, to have it still on there, as opposed to like Tom Cruise's The Mummy, where they're just like, look, a prop from that movie, and now back to our movie.
Yeah.
To actually have it be that they're.
I can see them doing that.
That they talked about the history that all that stuff happens, but now, Will Turner is now like, got back on land, has life lived, and then there's the kid was in the other one and has lived their life, and essentially all those pirates and stuff are gone.
This is Will Turner's great-granddaughter. No, see, that's still 100 years. You can do whatever.
Yeah,
do whatever you want to
no,
do.
well, it's like I just as my own personal thing, I don't really like connections by blood. Like I don't want to know about your grandkids and grandkids.
Oh, because we know what happened the last time somebody did that.
Then you get into midichlorian nonsense.
Okay, no, or cloning, and nobody wants that. Good stuff today. A bit of a downer, but you know what?
Sure, but
it's celebration.
Celebration of life. Like we like these people who meant a lot to us, and their stuff and their work lives on.
Absolutely.
So you could find your favorite performances and things on YouTube, and support them.
Check all that out. Watch Turning Red.
Yep, Turning Red's out there.
Maybe watch some wrestling.
Yep, watch the Adam Project's out there. It's still worth watching. I'll have
to see that.
Yeah, if you it's a time travel, fun and family adventure thing, and it does all that stuff. I just have high standards. I'm told.
And with that,
and yet look at when I make something.
Right. Have some random fun. We'll see you on the next episode. 10 random things. Watch some previous episodes. Do all the stuff. We'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.